You are tuning in to a milestone episode. This is Dem Bois Podcast 100th episode, and I'm joined here today with Jasmine from Pink Lady Productions, who serves as the podcast producer. She has been rocking with me since episode 1. But the difference between this episode and any other episode is that I am the guest. And so Jasmine is the host, and so we're going to talk all things Shawn Aaron, all things Dem Bois Podcast, and we're going to discuss Dem Bois Inc. And so within this episode, I discuss what visibility equals possibility means to me and why is it important. I talk about how the podcast has grown over the last 3 years. I even mentioned the name Dem Bois and where that came from. I discuss my earliest memory of affirming my gender and why community is so important. There are so many things and so many great things in this episode that you just gonna have to tune in. So continue to listen. I'm so glad that you've been rocking with us from day one. And if you haven't been rocking with us from day one, where you been? This is the perfect time to listen to this episode and then go back and listen to some of the older ones because they're all amazing. And so I'm so excited, and I hope to have you around for another 100 episodes. I'm so sure you're going to love this episode.
Dem Bois, Dem Bois, amplifying, transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, visibility equals possibility, you know we them boys, them boys, amplifying, transmitting color voices, yeah, we here making noise, making noise, them boys,
Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Aaron, he, him, his. And today we are here. I'm joined by Jasmine from Pink Lady Productions, and we are here celebrating the 100th episode.
Woo-hoo.
Yes. And so for that, in commemoration of the 100th episode, I'm actually going to be the guest today. And so Jasmine is here because Jasmine is going to be the host. So Jasmine, go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Hey, y'all, Pink Lady here. I am so excited to be here celebrating 100 episodes of Dem Bois Podcast, y'all. It's amazing. Most podcasts don't make it past episode 4. So to have 100 episodes is a huge feat, and I'm just super excited. I'm pumped. I'm hyped to be here celebrating. So with that said, I'm just going to go in because y'all already know Shawn, but you're going to get to know him a little deeper. So let's go ahead. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. So first of all, Shawn, who are you and what do you do?
Ooh, who am I? I am, as my introduction always says, I'm Shawn Aaron, he, him, his. And I feel like I say that every time I go somewhere when somebody asks me, like, how are you? What's your name? Oh, I'm Shawn Aaron, he, him, his. I'm like, oh, this is not the time to say he, him, he is. But I am a nonprofit leader. I am the founder of Dem Bois Inc. As folks know, I'm also the host of this podcast, just not today, but I am the host of Dem Bois Podcast, and I am really driven by taking care of and prioritizing trans men of color. I am a man from trans experience, and so this is my passion, my drive, and it's what I live for every day when I wake up. It is not my average 9 to 5. I am the executive director on a part-time basis, and I work doing other things in the daytime to pay the bills, keep the lights on, food in my stomach, things of that nature. And so, and that's kind of like what I do.
Yeah. You do an amazing job at what you do too. So
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Where did the idea for, let's talk about Dem Bois org first, because of course the podcast is an extension of the organization, right?
Mhm.
So first of all, where did the idea for Dem Bois organization come from?
Ooh, so can I go back and tell you how the name Dem Bois Inc. came about?
I mean, that was a question that we were going to get to later, but go
Okay,
ahead.
no.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Go ahead. This is your show. I'm just here today helping your audience get to know you better. So go ahead.
Okay, so back, this was some years ago. So this name, Dem Bois, has been with me for years. And so it started as I wanted it to be, because I ride motorcycles, and so I wanted it to be. I wanted to create a motorcycle club for masculine of centered women. So however that you fall into that category, if you identify as a stud or you're just a masculine woman at the time, I was like, yo, I see all these men motorcycle clubs around. I see these and motorcycle clubs are followed up with social clubs, and it's usually the men in the motorcycle club and then the women in the social club, and they supporting the men that's in the motorcycle club, right? And I'm like, nah, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be a place where masculine or center women can come together and ride our bikes, right? And so that's was like, and so I said, well, BOIS, right, which encapsulates gender into that, right, and identity and masculinity and all forms of like different men identify boys, as a masculine person, right? And so I was like, well, we not BOYS, we not those boys, but we them boys. And so and so that yeah, and so the names stuck. We got motorcycle jackets and everything, right? I had the manuals, the booklet made, the membership, all that. But everybody that was in it, either we fell out or they didn't get along. Some folks didn't get bikes, and so it just was a dream that kind of like fizzled away. And so because I was the one who started it, I had the name. I'm like, maybe that's what the purpose was. I was just gonna hold on to that name, and then it was just gonna be something for later, which it was. And so later on in life, when I went to create an organization based off of my own gender identity, based on my own transition journey, I was like, I want to create a space where other trans men of color can have some of the same access that I had, regardless of their economic status. And so Dem Bois was formed in order to provide assistance for trans men of color who need help with their gender affirming surgeries and care.
Yeah. Talk more about Dem Bois org and the things that you do and the services that you provide.
Yeah, of course. And so Dem Bois org, so we've kind of blossomed in ways, right? We've picked up and gotten this podcast. We've done different programs over the years, right? But our main focus is providing gender affirming surgery care, financial help. And so we've done things like our care package program, which we started during COVID. And that was just where we curated personal care packages with things like tissue, paper towels, like I like to say booty wipes. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but like the bathroom wipes, toothbrush, toothpaste, all of those things. And it was no questions asked, right? Because it was a time where folks was having a hard time, right? We were locked up, not locked up, but we were, on lockdowns, and folks weren't working and all of these things. And so folks had given access to necessity items. And I felt a privilege in my own life because I had those items. And I had a reflection of like, I remember a time in my life when I was homeless and I didn't have those things. So I know there's so many other trans men of color out there right now who may have lost access to those things. And so that was one of the programs that we did during COVID, and it lasted a few years. And so we have the podcast, and also we have our Visibility Equals Possibility merch. And so if folks have been listening to this podcast, I say all the time, visibility equals possibility. And so we have partnered with like other trans men in the community to create designs and art of what visibility equals possibility means to them. And so that's another one of our programs that we've kind of been working. And so as of today, we've had 2 creators of that line. And so if you're listening, you can go to our website and shop and support. All the money that we raise from our sales supports our Gender Affirming Surgery Grant Fund.
Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I really love what you do. That's why I'm part of this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So I want to take it back for a minute because I want to share a short story that I don't think I've shared ever publicly about why the care packages are so important. Y'all gonna get an exclusive today,
yes,
right?
Love it.
About why care packages are so important. And again, we don't share the same identity, right? But I can connect to so many things that you do and so many stories, right? So I remember me and my mom were in the store one day and we're buying a bunch of things, a bunch of toiletries, like toothbrush, toothpaste, those type of things that we needed for the house. She gets a call, and we rush out. We drop everything. She's like, we got to leave. We got to go home. Whatever. I'm a kid at that point. So I didn't get the details. All I knew is my mom said, we leaving. We got to go. Right. So she gets home and there's a lady there that meets us there. This was one of her friends from the church that we went to. And she had a huge bag. It actually was a basket full of stuff. It was like a nice basket with the, cellophane wrapping. And it was just full of toiletries, full of toilet paper, full of paper towel, full of all different types of paper goods that you need for your home, right? And then toiletries too, like toothpaste and soaps and things like that. So let's fast forward 10 years later, because again, I was young. I didn't really get what was going on. Like, why we were just about to buy all this stuff. Why was rushing home important to get all this stuff? So years later, I find out why it's so important, because my mom was trying to piece together money in the store to figure out how to buy these things for her children, right? It's me and my brother. My mom's a single mom. That's that. She was literally trying to figure it out. And she's on the phone, asking this person for $20, asking this person for whatever. And she got a call while we were in the store with somebody telling her they had a gift for her. She didn't know what the gift was. She just knew she had to get there. I guess they were like, come now. Like, I got you. Like, don't worry about what you're doing. Like, come now, that type of thing. That was the gift. Everything that we needed, that we were buying, that she was trying to figure out how to get, that was the gift. So those things people never think about, right? Like, you think about them for yourself, but you never really think about them for others. So it's so important, because you, Shawn, are somebody who is clearly always thinking about others, always thinking about community, right? Always thinking about making the world better for other people, right? So it matters. I just wanted to, tell you in the audience, like, it really matters. So it's just appreciative that you do something like that, and that your organization, was created to to do things like that. It's just really, really, really cool.
Damn it, Jasmine. I just want to say real quick that makes me emotional, because I know how that feels on both ends. I know how it feels to receive, and I know how it feels to give. And I was raised by a single mother. And so knowing that my mom had to piece things together as well, right? And some of the things that we got were given. And I didn't understand it at the time either, right? And just to know that, and I've had folks come back and say, even past guests to say like, that care package really changed my life, right? And we don't think about it when we go into the bathroom. For folks who have access, who have privilege, because being able to brush your teeth is a privilege. There are folks that are unhoused that don't have access to that. And I was once unhoused and I didn't have access to that. And the way that it made me feel when I didn't have access to that versus the way it made me feel when I did have access to it. And I still carry a lot of trauma of times when I didn't have access to those things. So to know that, even just from you and our different identities, right? But knowing that we share some similar experiences, it just made me emotional for a second of like, that shit is really important. And we don't realize just the small things makes a difference in people's lives.
It really does. A lot of people don't think, this is my last $10 and I got to choose between eating tonight, right? Or buying toiletries so that I can be clean, right? The average person probably doesn't think about that thing. So it's, just a testament to the people out there who do think about those things. I want to go back and talk about the name. How long ago was that when you were thinking of the motorcycle club and all of that stuff? Because I'm not trying to age you. I just want to know.
That's cool.
Just curious.
I'm OG at this point. Some people say Unc or whatever. Don't call me if you see me on the street. Do not call me that. But it was a while. I was still in my 20s. And so as of this recording, I'm 44 years old. So like early, it was before my transition. I just began my medical transition at 33. So it was way before that. So I probably was maybe 28 years old. Yeah.
Okay, so we could say about like 15, 20 years.
Ooh, you didn't have to. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just wanna
Yeah.
create the connection
Yeah.
between that, it didn't work out, but the name, like you said, had a purpose. And it took 15, 20 years to see the purpose. But that's a great example, because a lot of the times you won't see the purpose. Something will come to us. Maybe it's a name, maybe it's a thought, maybe it's an organization, right? Things like that. And we won't understand why until maybe 20 years later. And that's okay, because you're not supposed to know why. A lot of the times you're just supposed to keep taking those steps to to be on your journey, to be on that path. So that's just a great example of that, I think. Let's talk about the podcast. Dem Bois Podcast is an extension of the organization. Why did you create Dem Bois Podcast?
Oh my goodness. If I'm dramatic and I love to tell stories and I'm a storyteller. So I will have to say that I'ma just go back to a time when there was no visibility for me. And so I began my medical transition in 2013. But maybe about a year or two prior to that, I was starting to socially transition. And so some folks didn't know me by Shawn and some folks did. But I was adamant about, okay, I'm going by Shawn. And this was an era, and we going back to, telling my age, but Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I don't even think Instagram was around. Instagram wasn't around, but there was like the Facebook and some of these other social media platforms that no longer exist. And I was trying to figure myself out. And I was like, well, let me go see if it's some other Black men doing the same thing, or other, masculine or center women that, feel the same way that I feel, right? When I got to that point in my life where I'm like, I feel more than just a masculine or center woman. I feel something different, something else, right? Yeah. And there was none. There was none. There was like one, I can't even remember his name now because I don't really follow him anymore, but it was one Black guy that I used to follow heavy on YouTube. And what's crazy about that is I depended on him for all of my knowledge, right? And that's heavy. That's heavy weight to carry for him, right? Because it's like I'm the only person on YouTube. And so, I'm you pretty much like this example that everybody want to ask you questions. Everybody are looking to you because there's no other examples out there that you can visually see, right? And I had never been in community with trans men before. I had never even met a trans man as of yet before, right? I was just in the community with lesbians. And so there was no visibility to me. I had no idea. I went into my transition blind as hell. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know what to expect. I just know what the doctor say. Okay, here go this paper. When you start taking this tea, this is what's going to happen, right? But I had no real life, nothing to look at other than this one person. And his journey was not all the way like mine. And so I was wise enough to know not to rely on him. Yes, I could see him for examples and all of that, but I can't rely on him as fully. But I can't say that everybody else didn't do that to him, right? Everybody else didn't reach out to him and say, this is what life is like as a Black trans man, right? And so when it came down to Dem Bois Podcast, yes, it's all audio. Yes, you're only able to hear us, but this season you're also able to see us. That's something new. But these are episodes where you can hear our stories and our journeys, but it creates that presence, right? And it creates that variety, and it creates something for folks to grab onto. And, I'm the host of Dem Bois Podcast, but you might not resonate with my goddamn story, right? You might resonate with a guest story or 2 or 3 guest stories, or maybe just that one guest that you like, damn, that's me right there. I can see myself reflected in that. And so that's what Dem Bois Podcast is about. And I say it all the time. Visibility equals possibility, because when you see it, you know that it's possible. And you get a plethora of examples of life and gender expansiveness, right? And I always say transmass because that's my own identity, but we all have these different identities within that. It's just like an umbrella term, right? We have different branches of it that we fit into as trans folks. And so it's it's just that it's a mirror. It's Them Boys Podcast is a mirror. You look in it and you say, oh, I see myself. I see possibility. I can tell you 15 years, 16 years ago, when I came up with the name Dem Bois, I didn't see myself as being 44 either, right? And so somebody can see me and say, yo, I'm 17, or I won't say 17, I'm 21. And I don't see life as an older trans person. But then they say, oh, I'm listening to Dem Bois Podcast. Wait a minute, Shawn 44. I can see that possibility that I can grow older. Maybe I could start an organization. Maybe I can have a family. Maybe I can be a parent. Maybe I can be a dad. Right. And so that is what Dem Bois Podcast is about. It's holding up a mirror for other folks to see what's possible in their own lives. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. So from whatever platform that you're listening to this week's episode on, please be sure to give us 5 stars. And if there's something within this episode, whether it's the guest or something that I said, or maybe the guest said that resonated with you, be sure to go and leave us a comment on this episode or leave us a comment on the show. So what happens is, if you feel like it resonated with you, I'm sure there's someone out there who hasn't even heard about Dem Bois Podcast. It may resonate with them, and actually it could save someone's life. To hear these stories, right? Because we believe that visibility equals possibility, but there isn't any possibility if we aren't visible. So if you go and leave comments, the more comments you leave, the more 5-star ratings you leave, then this podcast will be available to more folks to see. And so we want to be visible. We want to be out there. We want folks to know that we're here and that our stories are out there for them to listen to. And so if you could do me a favor, please go ahead and rate the show or leave a comment. Until next time, see you on the next episode.
You talk a lot about visibility equaling possibility. And it's so true, right? Because a lot of the times we don't know that things are possible until we see them. And a lot of the time that's why we're searching for people. And that's when we find, that one person, we cling on to them because you're the only one, right?
Yeah.
I talked about this in episode of my podcast, actually, about finding other people like you. A lot of the times when I found other people in the podcasting space, specifically Black people in the podcasting space specifically, they had been doing it for a while. And it's like, well, damn, why did it take us this long to find each other? And I believe that that's by design, that is purposeful, right? There's a reason for that. But fuck that. We found each other now and we're building community. And I know that's something that's important to you too, but we'll talk about that later. So talk about why visibility equals possibility, why that is so important, and talk more about what that means as far as merch for Dem Bois organization.
It's funny that you asked me that about visibility equaling possibility, because I was actually reflecting on this just yesterday. And for folks who know me personally, know I love to drive, and so I'm not getting on nobody's bus. I'm not gonna say that, in discouragement to other folks who that is their mode of transportation. They prefer it, or that's their only mode of transportation. So I don't want to knock anybody for that. But I like to be in control of how I'm getting to my destination, because I'm always late. So I want to be able, if I got to be at work at 3, I need to leave my house if I'm leaving my house at 2:45, I need to be in control of how I'm going to get there in 15 minutes.
Got you.
Okay. So long story short, I did say I was a storyteller. So this is the long version. Yesterday, when I was on the train, I decided this month that I was going to do something different, and I was going to catch the train to work. I'm hating it already. I'm only 2 weeks in. But yesterday, I was on the train and I was listening to my music, and I was reflecting on just that visibility equaling possibility. And I was like, if I, when I was just a young stud before transitioning, there was nothing that I could see. Nothing. So my identity was based on what somebody else told me my identity was. I was with women who said, well, you're masculine, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, and you need to take out the trash. And, you know, you learn to be a touch me not stuff for folks who know what that is. And it wasn't, my identity was not by my own design. I was thinking about this. I was like, what if I had saw other masculine folks having children? Would that have shaped my idea of not wanting children or wanting children from my own body? I was really thinking about this. I was like, I could have had a biological child of my own had I seen that, you know, had it been visible for me to see. I would have known what was possible. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, Shawn, wait, I had to snap out. I was like, wait, Shawn, you ain't never thought about that before. I was like, is this train this reading on this damn train give you too many ideas? I need to be back in my car. Right. I need to be back in my car immediately. So I have to think about this heavy shit. But no, really, I was like, yo, like, where would my life have been if I had more options, if I saw more things, right? And we think about this climate that we in, this political climate that we in, this is the point of erasure. So folks do not, you know, I don't want to just blankly like, so folks don't get no smart ideas. You don't need to be that. So if you don't see it, if you don't hear it, you don't know about it, you won't think that that's possible for you in your own life. And so I was just thinking like, damn, I could have, you know, different things that I could have maybe done, right? But I didn't do them because I was not by my own design. And so the moment I decided to take hold of my own life and to just be like, fuck that shit. I don't care about somebody saying that because I'm masculine, I can't do this and I can't do that. So many things that I do right now today are habits that I have created because it's by my own design. Because, you know, if somebody see me, I want them to know that, hey, it is possible. So in every way that I can, I'm trying to step out of those boundaries of how things were designed for me and just taking hold of my own future, so to speak. I hope that answered your question, Jasmine.
Yeah. I love that. Just add on about the merch and how, like, you know, what you're doing for trans men of color as far as with the merch and giving them freedom to design.
Yeah, so that also started by accident. And so it was a past guest on Dem Bois Podcast, Emilio Perdomo. And so I want to say that we'll plug this in under the episode, a link to his episode. But we were talking about it after recording. So, you know, after we got, you know, press stop or whatever, we were talking about it. And I was telling him about it. And he was like, yo, I'm an artist. I would love to create a vision for that. And so I said, okay, cool. He was like, what you wanted to look like? I said, I have no idea. Like, I ain't thought about this shit before. I have no fucking idea. So you just go ahead and create. And then you show me when you done it. And I say yay or nay. Right. And he didn't say anything. He just created some stuff. And then he's like, okay, this is what I got. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Right. I'm not really an artist myself. I used to be, but they say when you have a talent and you don't use it, you lose it. So I used to be an artist, but I lost it. But I was like, yo, this is his creation about what visibility equals possibility means to him. And so it was just like a light bulb came on. I was like, I wonder what other people would think it meant for them, right? Because we all have different journeys. We all have different visions. We all see different possibilities, right? Within whatever we see, right? We all have different interpretations of life. Me and you can look at the same thing, Jasmine. I'm going to use the Bible, for instance. Me and you can read the same piece in the Bible, same scripture, same verse, but your interpretation of it is going to be totally different than mine. And you're like, how the hell you get that? We just read the same sentence, but it's based on our experiences and how we see life and based on our own experiences and things that we've been through. And so I was like, ooh, I wonder how many times over this visibility equals possibility could unfold, right? And so it came again with another guest. And I was like, you know, me and him talked about it. And he was like, you know, I want to design something too, right? And so it was like, yo, this is... It's almost like a prism, right? It's like visibility equals possibility is in the middle of this prism. And if you turn it around, it looks different. If you turn it around in this light, it looks different, right? And so I love that this idea of giving folks freedom I can't tell you what visibility equals possibility means to you. I know what it means to me. but only you can create what it means for you in reflection of your own life. And so that's how it is. And so with the merch, all sales. So if you haven't had the opportunity, please go on the website and check out this merch. Yo, it's I got a whole closet full of it. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now if you're looking at me via video, right? And so all the money that's collected from the merch, not only will you could get a hoodie, you can get a shirt, you can get a mug, you can get a tapestry. We have so many different things. You can get a journal, right? And so many different things that you can get that shows visibility equals possibility from somebody else's design. And all of the money collected goes into our gender affirming surgery fund. And so with that, we're giving it back, right? And so it's being created, and with that money, we're giving it back into our gender affirming surgery fund and all of the other things that we do, all of the other programs that we support.
Y'all, like, it's amazing. I know all of this, but I'm still just listening to you like in awe, because I just think what you're doing is amazing. The fact that none of the money goes to Shawn, y'all. Like,
no, none
all
of
the money pours back into the community. And I mean that you're just so community, right?
Yeah.
I'm community as fuck, as they say on Marsha's plate.
Yes.
Did you want to add?
Yeah, I want to add something, because that is very correct. And so a lot of people have this idea of what nonprofits do with the money. Yo, I'm not out here living this big life because I'm taking in folks' money and I'm going out here and I'm buying me a truck or a house. And I'm not doing any of those things, right? And to be completely 100% honest, so Dem Bois Inc. is almost approaching its 10th year. And for 8.5, I'm going to say 8.5, 9 of those years, I never got paid 1 cent as an executive director. Never took home a salary. Y'all, I work 40, 50, 60 hours a week sometimes when I was still on my days off, still putting in this work with Dem Bois, because I knew that this is something that my community needed. And so when you say trust trans leadership, when folks say trust Black trans leadership, this is a prime example of trusting Black trans leadership to do exactly what we said that we're going to do. When Shawn said he's going to do something, I can't speak for nobody else. I don't know what nobody else is doing behind their walls, right? But I know here at Dem Bois, and I'm supported by folks like Jasmine and other folks on our board, we are doing exactly what we say we're going to do. And that's what we're doing with that, whether it's, hey, somebody reaching out like, hey, I don't have a place to live. Okay, let me tap into community to help you find a place to live. Hey, I'm just saying these are like little bits of things. This is not all that, that's not a major part of what we do, but it's saying that we are in the community and we're here for the community. We're here to do everything that we can do to help the community. And so,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to get into why community is so important to you and just so important in general. But I just you made a great point talking about the last thing we were talking about. You asked the same question. Your series of questions for the podcast is pretty much the same, right? You get into different things depending on what the people say, what the guests say, but the lineup is pretty the same. The question that is definitely the same for every episode is, how did the name choose you, right? And if you listen to how everyone answers the question, completely different. Same question, but everybody answers it completely different. And that's the point, right? That is how life should be. We all have these different perspectives so that we can collaborate and make the world better. Like that's just it.
Yes.
So with that, talk about community, why it's so important to you and in general.
God damn it. This is another emotional thing for me, because community is important to me because there was a moment in my life I had no one. Nobody. I didn't have my family. I was alone. I didn't have friends. There was many years that I didn't have friends. And and I remember I used to cry all the time to my significant other of like, I don't have any friends. And it used to really fuck with me. I just didn't have, you know how you go and you're like, oh, I'm about to go hang with the homies over the weekend. I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody that I talked to. And I'm talking about somebody that you confide in, somebody you can trust. And I know my sweetheart was sick of me because I was always confiding in her. These are things that you should go tell your friends. She had her friends and I didn't. And so she would go out on vacations and I didn't. I would stay home and I just, you know, I was I was really dedicated to being a family man. Because I didn't have family. And so that was very important to me to have family and to support a family, to raise a child in a way that was totally different from how I was raised. And so I just put my 100% into that. But then, and so her family became my family. Her mom became my chosen mom. I finally, as an adult, I really learned what being a mom was about, what having a mother was. She was my mother. No questions asked. Couldn't call her by her name. She was like, call me mama. To the day she died, I called her mama. And so I slowly started to build this community. And it wasn't until, and mind you, I said I began my transition in 2013. It wasn't until 2015 that I started to build community. So I went years alone, other than significant other, my son, but I went many years alone. And so to me, community is life. It's life. It's substance. If you do not have community, I encourage you, if you're listening to this right now, to find somebody that you can call your people. You know, and it's hard at times, especially when you don't have anybody. It's hard to trust people. And I read an article not too long ago about how hard it is to define friends when you're in your 30s, right? And so I encourage folks to find their community, and that sometimes means to breaking down some of them walls that you have. And so some of the things that you're so guarded up against, that you are keeping people out from being community. And so I feel like community it's important. It's so important. And community can mean so many things. Chosen friends, chosen family. It could just mean it's a different meanings for different people. But to me, community is life.
Hey, this is Joel Simu, production assistant for Dem Bois Podcast. Here at Dem Bois, we are committed to amplifying the voices of trans men of color. We need your support to continue this important work. Your contributions make it possible for us to cover production costs, provide honorariums to our guests, and keep sharing these powerful transition stories. Ready to support? Click the donation link in our description or head over to our website at dembois.org. And remember, all donations are tax deductible. Through sharing, connecting, and giving, you're doing more than supporting a podcast. You're helping build a movement. Until next time, stay strong, stay visible, and keep telling your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Community is life. Yeah, I think it's amazing what you've built, the community that you've built and the network that you've built, especially when you just saying coming from nothing, right? You built it all yourself. And that's amazing. I want you to talk about like how you did that. Because I know there are people out there who are probably in that time that you were in, right? Where like you felt like I had my baby and that's it. You know, I had my son, of course, but you can't go to your son and talk about those type of things, right? So, so like you had that one person, and there may be people out there who feel like they don't have that one person, right? So what would you say? How would you encourage them and talk through the lens of like how you built community? And I know you go to therapy. I know you are an advocate of therapy, and I know if you want to throw that into that answer, I'm sure that will come across too.
Yeah.
So absolutely, just talk all about that.
Oh I go to therapy every week. And so one of the things I've also learned in therapy recently is that, Shawn, you're not in survival mode anymore. You're in your thriving phase in life. And so when I heard those words, I was like, wait a minute. Here it is. I thought I was still out there. I thought I was still working to live, but I was so busy working to live that I forgot to live. And so it opened up my eyes to a lot of different things. And so I think, sometimes I leaned into being uncomfortable. And so for folks don't know me, but I'm shy. I say that I'm shy. And it came from years of being in the car. Jasmine laughing because she said I'm not. But it takes.
I didn't say nothing. Go ahead.
It was the giggle for me. I said everything. And one of the reasons why I say I'm shy because I went years without speaking, and so for me, it's very uncomfortable to start speaking because I don't trust people. It's very hard, but I had to be like, so for instance, if somebody say, if I'm in a bar, I'll just say I'm at a party. I don't know. Jasmine, you throwing a party, and at the party, I meet another trans guy. And if that person say, hey, we should, we talk about our similar identities and say, hey, we should exchange phone numbers. Before I would say, yeah, no, but now it's okay, cool. I give people that chance. And so then so many times that I have given people that chance and so if you text me and you're like, yo, what's up, bro? Oh, let me nurture this. Yo, what's up, bro? And then we can talk and we can communicate. And speaking on that, and I hope I'm answering your question, Jasmine. If I'm not, pull me back because I like to talk. But for instance, I will say that I do have a friend right now, and it came from a text message. And Jasmine, I actually was that middle person. And so it came from, hey, will you talk to this person about their gender identity? Because it's similar to mine and they're beginning their journey and they're also a parent. And can you help navigate this conversation? And my old self would have been like, no, I'm shy. No, I can't do it. Right. But I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And I put 100% of myself into this at the time. And so it went from, okay, we talk. Hey, bro, what's up? Okay. Hey, bro, what's up? To now, years later, I can say that he is genuinely my friend. And it is because I opened myself up to that possibility of what it would look like. I want a community, but if you say you want community, but you ain't working on building it, how you gonna get it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I went so many years without people that I didn't know what it felt like. I did know what I did not like in friendship. And I actually don't even like that word friendship. Excuse me. And I'm glad that you said community because I see it more of as a community. I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have to really break down those walls and let people in. You can't say you want something and you ain't letting people in, right? It's just like Jasmine earlier, you telling a story about your mom getting that basket. And it would be one thing if your mom was like, oh, I can't take that. No, take it. God damn it, you need it.
Okay.
Right. And so it's that same thing. It's like, if you want community, if you want friendship, take it. But you also have to give it. And so you have to take down those walls. And so I'm going back to saying that all those years I didn't have friends or whatever, but I can genuinely say, and I'm going to give a shout out to him, V, he was also a guest on this show. I can say that he's my friend. Right. And why? Because, and we also talked about it. What friendship look like for you? I don't know. What would friendship look like for you? Well, I know what I don't want it to feel like it look like. And so, and it was a way of like, but I'm able, because I want this, I'm able to give to somebody what I want to receive. And so if you break down those walls and just let people in, then you will build your community. You will find your community. And it's also setting up them boundaries, because also know what you don't want in a friendship. So when people get to that part of what you don't want, okay, I tried it, I'm going to have to walk away from you. So you also have to not be so desperate to want friendship and community that you're allowing some of those toxic things in.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you said so many things I want to go back to. First of all, I want to talk about the power of asking, right? Because a lot of times that be the hardest part, right? We don't want to bother people. We don't want to, like we think people's time is so precious, which it is. Don't get me wrong, but I have found, and also don't get me wrong, because I still struggle with this. I'm always the one that I finally reach out after I've been thinking about it for, I don't know, days, weeks, right? So I'm still working on it. But a lot of the times I find when I finally do ask, the people are always ready and willing to help, extend resources, extend whatever, right? So I just want to mention, like, the power of asking. A lot of the times is the hardest part, to just work yourself up to ask, but do it, because a lot of the times it will be so worth it. But also with that, right, you got to deal with a lot of rejection. With building community, you may have to deal with a lot of rejection too, right? With letting yourself be open and letting people in, you still might have to deal with a lot of rejection and people letting you down and things like that, right? So can you talk about that part of it? Because I think you made some good points. Um, number defining what friendship is, right? People don't talk about that. We've had a conversation about like, you know, when people are in relationships and they're about to have children together, people don't talk about like what parenting looks like, right? People don't talk about what friendships look like. People don't talk about what relationships look like. Bell Hooks said that most people don't even define love, right? If you ask people what love is, you'll get a bunch of different answers, right? And we are in the same relationship and we still have two different definitions of what love is, because people don't talk about it. So I think that's a huge point. Defining what a relationship is. What do I want in this relationship? And I'm saying relationship as the general word, right? Talking about friendship, talking about business relationships, intimate, like whatever. Defining it. What does that look like for us? And it don't have to look like what it looks like for anybody else. That's the key too. Letting people in, because you know, we all have these walls that we're building up to protect ourselves, and absolutely protect yourself. I'm never going to tell you not to protect yourself, but if you want to, like Shawn said, build the community, you got to work at it too. It's not just going to happen. So you got to let those people in. And then you talked about boundaries, right? Like, you can't be so desperate to have friends that you just calling everybody your friend and they're all mistreating you. Like, that's not okay. That's not going to work out. That's not sustainable. So just talk about the like rejection side of it and how you got through those type of things.
So I want to see it as I'm gonna say a friendship. I'm gonna say it like this. I feel like friendship, community is just like any other thing in life. It's just like trying new food. You could say, somebody could say, let's go out for sushi. Oh, I ain't never had sushi. Okay, well, try it. Okay, you try it. You can say, oh my God, this was delicious. I want to try even more, different varieties of sushi. Or you could say, you know what? Sushi ain't for me. I don't like it. Right? And so as you age, you know what you don't like. You know, when I use this analogy before of like when you 6 and you don't like crust on your sandwiches. But then when you get to be 20 and you buy your own goddamn bread, for one, you realize I like crust on my sandwiches. And two, that's goddamn wasteful. I'm going to eat this crust on my damn sandwich because I paid $6 for this bread. Right? Okay. So friendship is just the same way, right? You have to try it out. And you realize, yeah, that person is for me and I'm going to keep nurturing this relationship. Or, no, I don't like them. They crust on my sandwich and I'm going to peel them off. Right? And you right about that. People don't talk about those things, right? People do not say, hey, this is what a friendship. You think people are not mind readers. I can't read your goddamn mind and you can't read mine. And if you can read my mind, we need to be more than just friends. There need to be something else going on. You need to be my my telling me my future or some shit, right? Okay. More than friends. Because if you can read my mind, that's dangerous. So, right. And so you have to really give it a try. But being strong enough to say yay or nay. But people don't talk about it. People don't say this is, relationships don't work out because people don't say this is what I want in a relationship. These are my expectations. This is how I want to be loved. This is how I want to be treated. Right. We just get into stuff and we just do it. And then when a motherfucker don't do something right, you're like, well, you should know. Well, how the hell I'm supposed to know? We ain't talk about this shit. Yep. I don't know. Right. And so you're right, Jasmine. Me and you were talking about this of even just being a parent. If you want to be a parent with somebody, okay, well, what type of parent do you want to be? If you with somebody that believe in whooping ass, but you don't believe in spanking your child, that's going to be a problem. But what? You got to talk about it. And so, it's no different if you like, I want to be in community with people that do this, and that. You have to name that. And somebody else can be like, well, I ain't that type of the community that you need. Okay, well, then, right. I got to find what I need somewhere else. Right. And so therapy helps. Therapy will definitely help you weed out your different relationships. If you have a great therapist, I have a wonderful therapist. And so I have actually been able to step away from people because of therapy. I've been able to bring people in and nurture friendships because of therapy. I've been able to end romantic relationships because of therapy. I've been able to let people in, so it's like, it's a working thing. You got to continuously work on it. Right. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. I think you bring up so many great points. But the last part I think is a real key, because number one, it's okay for relationships to end. Everybody is not supposed to be in your life for forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is something that I think we just have to be okay with. And especially in the Black community, right? Because, we're quick to be like, but that's your mama, my mama didn't care about me, right? My mama didn't take care of me. My mama beat me. My mama did all these horrible things to me. But because that's my mama, I'm just supposed to be like, okay.
No. Fuck that mama. Shit. Yo, I used to say that all the time. Fuck her. I don't care about her. Like, no, she didn't care about me. Yeah. Don't get me started. That's a whole nother episode.
Relationships should be reciprocal. It don't matter what the relationship is. They should all be reciprocal, mutual. Like, no, you should not be putting your all in and not getting nothing at all. Like, relationships can end. That is, it's okay. And it's super okay for you to try something new and not like it. It's fine.
Yep.
The Visibility Equals Possibility collection has new designs and a new designer, me. My name is Zion, pronouns he, him, his, and I was on episode 53 if you want to go back and check that out. But I am the second trans man of color to design for the Visibility Equals Possibility collection. Dem Bois believes visibility equals possibility, and so do I. I am honored to take part in this groundbreaking collection and look forward to seeing what else the collection has in store. My designs represent having confidence and courage to be bold with your visibility. The design, in my mind, says, take the caution you need, but I am here. I hope you all enjoy the designs, and be sure to purchase some designs from me or Emilio to support the gender affirming programs by Dem Bois. Find the amazing designs of the Visibility Equals Possibility collection and other merch items that I've designed on the Dem Bois shop at dembois.org. That's DEMBOI as in igloo s.org. And remember, visibility equals possibility.
So let's take it back and let's talk about affirming your gender identity. So like, what is the earliest memory you have of like, yeah, that was the first time I knew who I was?
Well, I always knew I was masculine. So every phase in my life, I talked about this before, of like going through all the little letters, the LGBT, Q. I was okay with all of them when I was at that point. But I always knew as I was growing up, I was not going to be a feminine girl. That did just talking about it making me uncomfortable, and I ain't 7. I knew it, that wasn't me. And so one of the first memories I have, so my mom was really religious when I was a kid. She was very strict. We couldn't do too many things. We couldn't even play outside. Okay. Unless we was at my grandmother's house, which my grandmother lived in a safer neighborhood. And so we, she was very honest. I can't afford this. I can't do that. So, we didn't do Halloween because, I want to say because of religious things, but I also think now that I'm reflecting on it right now in this moment, it's probably because she couldn't really afford it. And them damn costumes is expensive, and she got 3 damn kids. Look, that's just like what you said earlier. I'm either going to buy a goddamn costume or we ain't going to eat. Right. And so we didn't celebrate it. And if she would allow me and my younger brothers to make up our own damn costumes. And so that's what we used to do. So we used to get creative with it. And so my brother, one of my brothers dressed up one time as like a tribe person. So he was like an indigenous person back in, before colonization. And I would always choose. I always thought it was the easiest thing for me to do, but I think this was actually me affirming my identity. I was always dressed like a boy. I was like, I'm gonna be a boy for Halloween. That was always my thing. Every year, I'm gonna be a boy. I didn't know what that mean. I just know I wanted to be a boy. My mom would get so mad because I was a boy too damn good. And so people were like, oh, look at your 3 sons. She's like, that's my daughter right there. I even got creative one year. I drew on a mustache and a beard. It was just, I didn't know what it was at 10 and 9 and 11 years old.
Yeah.
But I knew when it was Halloween and I got to be my boy, I was comfortable. And so that was like the first memory I have of like really affirming I won't say my gender per se, but just the masculine, my internally masculine self. So.
Yeah. Talk about how that felt. If you can remember, like reflecting on it, what did it feel like?
I want to say it felt uncomfortable, only because my mom made it fucking uncomfortable. If we at the Halloween party and she like, no, that's my damn daughter. I'm like, but it's Halloween. You know, if your kid
tell everybody,
right? Like. if your kid is dressed up like Dracula, you don't say that ain't Dracula. I am Dracula for today. Okay.
Right.
So it was uncomfortable, but I felt cool within myself because I did it so well. I did it so well that people would say, this is her 3 sons, right? And so I felt happy in that until my mom, spoiled it. She pissed in my Cheerios. But, I felt good. I really did. I felt good. And I felt good because it was, I didn't have to do all the extra stuff like my little brothers would do. And I just could I always had masculine clothes anyway. So I just put on my favorite overalls or my favorite jeans, and I got to wear a hat, put my hat backwards. I can't do that all the time. Right. And so it felt, I want to say it felt good, but borderline uncomfortable only because my mom made it uncomfortable.
Yeah, moms can do that. They have a way of sometimes making it about themselves when it should be about the child. Right. But yeah, I'm glad you were able to see the positive in it, and get something for yourself out of it. What is your fondest memory of affirming your identity? Let's say before, or maybe not before, maybe during, or maybe right after, or maybe years after. Like, has there been a time where you're like, you had another realization or another reflection moment and you're like, that was it. Like, that was the time I knew, or that was the time I felt great in my body, or, any memories like that?
Yep. October 1st, 2013.
Okay.
That's when I got top surgery.
Okay. Talk about it.
Yes. That was the most affirming moment of my life. That's the best moment of my life. I've had good moments, but like that was the best and affirming moment of my life. And I never used to bind. I had the most ugliest titties. I swear to God, they was just ugly as fuck. And I still have a picture of them in my phone. Yeah, anyway, because I don't want to forget. And so I do. But I remember they was ugly as fuck. And to me, okay, I'm just talking about my own body.
Right.
I didn't care to bond. I didn't care. I just let them hang. I don't care. Because one day they will not be here. And I had no idea how that was going to happen. If I had to lay them little floppy son of bitches on the table and cut them off myself, that was going to happen. But that moment I woke up on October the 1st, 2013, and they wasn't there, listen, you couldn't tell me shit. You still can't tell me shit. Because that was the most affirming thing to me. And I always said I wanted to have top surgery no matter if I had started T or not. But I did ended up starting testosterone before having top surgery. I ended up deciding to go through the whole process. But that moment I woke up and was like, damn, they gone? Man, just thinking about it right now, I hated them my whole life. I never want to look at myself in the mirror. Never. I would go from the shower and then Harry put my clothes on because I just hated them that much. They just didn't fit my body. Not just because they was ugly, but because it just didn't fit. I didn't like them. I don't want them touched. It just was a part that was foreign to me. And so they get them off. That was like the most affirming moment ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about like the mental part of not wanting them, not feeling connected to them, all of that. And then, you know, you got top surgery and they're gone. Like, I don't even got to worry about them no more. So talk about like what that did for your, you know, mental health.
I want to say that people, and that let me be clear. I went through some dysphoria of not having them. So I did have some serious I don't want to say mental-ish health issues, but kind of. I was missing them. I went all these years of saying I didn't want them, that when they finally weren't there. Now, mind you, I transitioned when I was in my early 30s. So I've been walking around with these things for 20-something, 30 years. So I was glad that they were gone, but I had to learn to be without them. And I even had a moment of missing them. Like, where are they? What they do with them? I was like, what did they do? Did they burn them? Did they throw them in the trash can? Like, where are they? Where are they sitting right now? And I had my sweetheart was like, quit worrying about them titties. They are gone. Don't worry about what happened to them. They probably burned them up. I don't know, but stop worrying. But
Shawn, like, who got my titties sitting on their mantle? Like, they somewhere.
Yeah, like, where are they? Yeah, I wanted to know. Did you know that did somebody put them in bronze? Oh, that's my age. For folks that don't know, I'm aging myself, but I'm an 80s baby. And back in the day in the 80s, people would dip their child's baby shoe in bronze and put it on a frame with a baby picture. So I just thought that's what happened to my titty. Somebody bronzed it. I don't know. But I had to really work through that. I had to learn how to sleep. I used to sleep on my side, right? I had to learn that now I can't sleep on my side because that's uncomfortable for me. To this day, I can't sleep on my side really, because it's almost like a phantom. You know how people talk about phantom pain when they're missing a limb or whatever, and they feel that tingling that's there. That happened for a long time. I would have that. I'm being real vulgar with the words, but I had like that under titty itch, like for years. I was like, there's nothing there, but I feel like it's itching, like, right. So I had to really mentally, and these are words that I use for my own body. So folks that, you know, don't want to associate the words for their own body, these are the words that I feel comfortable with talking about my own body. And so I had that itch, but I had to really be like, they're not there. They're not there. Right. So it was a mental shift of coming to realize that everything that I said I wanted was actually upon me. And now I had to live without them and get to know myself differently now without them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because first of all, they're heavy. Right. So, I mean, if they're a certain size, right, they're going to be heavy, right? So having to navigate your body right now, even walking, sitting up, I'm sure is like very different.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah. And that's something that I mean, I don't really hear about it at all. I mean, I am in community, so I have heard stories, right? And who you talked about earlier, V, that's my best friend. So like I was around when he had his top surgery. So I have heard certain stories, but I think publicly that's not something that's talked about a lot. So I just want to thank you for being honest and vulnerable in this moment, because I think it's necessary too, because I know there are people out there wondering like, what's it going to be like, you know, having the same or similar, you know, story to you. They got them right now and they hating them their whole life, but they're wondering like, you know, what's it going to be like after? So I love to get those different perspectives.
You know what I want to say about that, Jasmine? How would people feel? I'm gonna put this question out there. How would people feel about their bodies if we weren't judged based on how we look? If you can be trans and then not be associated, you know what I mean? Not be associated. Some men have vaginas. Some men have breasts. What would it be like if we could just be ourselves? Would people really want top surgery? If, you know, having breasts didn't define your manhood or who you were, or if it wasn't this thing of, if you pass or not, If people just believed who you say you were and just accepted you for that and let you navigate this world exactly like that, would it be something that we would strive to be or have, right? And so just thinking about that is like, you know, also thinking about, you know, your body is your body. And if you might be a trans man who love your breasts, then love them. Keep them.
Absolutely.
Don't get rid of them just because you want to fit into this box of what other trans men are doing or what society sees men as, right? And so I just want to put that out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to do what's best for you. And it can't be based on what the other people are doing, what society says you should do, what, you know, because even within the LGBTQ plus community, you're going to get judgment there too, right? So it can't be based on what anybody else wants. It got to be based on you. So yeah, that's the message. Absolutely.
Message. Yeah.
All right. So my random question.
Oh,
yes,
my
we've gotten to
goodness.
this point of the show.
Damn.
I'm gonna pick a random question that I know you haven't answered yet. Because this is actually the question that I asked on episode 99, the last episode of Dem Bois Podcast, where you interviewed me. So the question is, Shawn, what does your voice sound like telling your story?
What does my voice sound like telling my story? I don't like this. I'm like, I shouldn't ask people questions like this. This is nerve-wracking. This is more nerve-wracking
It
to
makes
ask.
you think, though. I love it.
What does my voice sound like telling my story? Well, my voice, I have different iterations of my voice, right? You know, some people say my voice sound like I should be on like some, what do you call it? After hours, night talk radio, late night radio station. So sometimes my voice sounds like that. But then like earlier in this conversation, sometimes my voice is emotional. Sometimes my voice is full of laughter. Sometimes my voice is happy. And like I said, different iterations of telling my story has different versions of my voice. So sometimes I'm calm just like this, right? And then there are sometimes when I'm reflecting on my life and my journey and I might be crying. And earlier I was a little bit. And so my voice sounds like whatever I'm telling it in the moment. And so, but I will say overall through all of those different emotional shades of my voice telling my story is confident.
Yeah.
And I've been through all that other shit already and I made it out on the other side. And so now I'm just ready. I'm prepared for what's up next, right? And so my story, my voice is confident.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, confidence. That's what we're looking for. Well, yeah, I got through all of my questions. So if you have any last words.
Any last words? I would like to say that this podcast is a blessing. And I remember some years ago, it's a couple of pieces, and I'm going to try to make this quick. First, when I graduated from college, there was somebody who gave, one of the graduating classmates gave a commencement speech, and they said don't forget to reach back. I didn't understand what that meant. And that's kind of like the name of Dem Bois. I just held on to that. I just put that in my little carrying bag that I needed to take with me, but I didn't know exactly what that meant. And then some years ago, before my transition, I saw a bulletin board on the side of the freeway that says, not verbatim, but it said, you know, sometimes we're waiting for things to be created and they're not going to be created because it's meant for us to create them. And so that's what Dem Bois Podcast is. It's me reaching back. I finally figured out what that meant. And that meant don't move forward and forget about some of those folks that's behind you. And whether that's, you know, if you're giving back to your community, whatever your community looks like, right? If you're a single mother and now you're established and now you're reaching back to give back to other single mothers, right? It's like whatever that is, that means for you to reach back. And so that's what this podcast is. It's me reaching back to create a mirror for other folks to see themselves displayed in for the future, create an ancestral presence. And it's also me creating something that maybe I thought that was needed, but it wasn't here because it was meant for me to create.
Yeah, and now we have Dem Bois Org and Dem Bois Podcast.
Yes. Yo, Jasmine, I want to say thank you so much for taking the mic from me. Thank you for being a host of the 100th episode of Dem Bois Podcast. You have been rocking with me since day one, episode 1, and you will continue to carry this torch of being a podcast producer. Y'all, we on season 4, but for folks that don't know, Dem Bois Podcast has been funded up until season 5. And so, Jasmine, you're going to be here for some more episodes. So, we might come back and say, we on episode 200. We on episode 350. We on episode 600, whatever that number is. And I just want to say thank you for taking the mic from me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some of my life and some of my stories with folks that are listening. I appreciate you.
Shawn, you're so welcome. Thank you for asking me to be a part of this. Thank you for trusting me with your vision, with your baby that is Dem Bois Podcast, right? Thank you for believing in me to, even do this, to put this together, right? It's been an amazing journey, and I just look forward to, like you said, episode 500. I'm just saying it. We're putting it out there. We're doing it.
Let's manifest it. Yes. That's a lot of talking, but yes, let's manifest it. Yes.